After completing a 3-month notice period, Mr. Sadaran joined the new organization in the month of May and joined them as a team lead. There, he was responsible for managing a team of 6 IT support engineers. Mr. Sadaran was happy since he was now the one to decide the shift of other engineers, and he thus had a liberty to work only in one shift, that is in general shift. His financial condition had also improved a bit because he had joined the new organization after taking 35% hike on his existing CTC. Despite the increased responsibility, he skillfully managed his task and demonstrated remarkable competence. Over the past 11 months, he received 7 appreciation emails and evidence to his outstanding performance. As 1 year elapsed, the company entered the month of appraisals. Mr. Sadaran diligently completed the appraisals of all 6 of his teammates according to the defined bell curve by his company. The atmosphere within the company was captivating to observe. Employees were filled with curiosity about their performance ratings. Everywhere, people gathered in groups, engaging in discussions solely centered around appraisals. The atmosphere brought few feelings in Mr. Sadaran's mind, filled with anxiety about whether he would receive an increment this year, given that he had completed only 11 months in this company. Mr. Sadaran decided to approach his manager. Thankfully, his manager held him in high regards and appreciated his work ethic. His manager decided to make a case and approach HR to explore the possibility of an exit. After discussing the case with HR, his manager took the initiative to send an email outlining the entire situation. The HR representative acknowledged the email and mentioned that she would internally review the company policies and will provide a response within next 2 days. Mr. Sadaran was eagerly awaiting the HR's reply. But as a week went by without any response, he approached his manager to inquire about the progress. In response, the manager promptly reached out to the HR, who conveyed that the matter was still under discussion and might require additional time for the final response. As the deadline for completing the appraisals approached, all employees received an email notification stating that due to internal decisions made by higher management, the company had decided to postpone the appraisals for a period of 1 week. The new appraisal date was scheduled for 10th of April. Despite the wait, Mr. Sadaran remained hopeful for a positive response from HR. He believed that his company would consider his case, especially considering the 7 appreciation emails he had received. With the date now being 29th of March, he finally made up his mind to approach his manager once more, and if necessary, he thought of contacting the HR representative directly. As expected, even on 29th of March, there was no response from HR. This prompted Mr. Sadaran to approach his manager. When Mr. Sadaran inquired about his case with his manager, he perceived a sense of evasiveness, leading him to believe that the manager was deliberately withholding information despite being aware of the situation. Frustrated by his thought, he expressed to his manager in a very mild manner that he might consider seeking a new job if his case was not taken into consideration. In addition to speaking with his manager, he attempted to contact the HR representative, who initially ignored Mr. Sadaran's call. Undeterred, he planned to call HR again in the afternoon. According to his plan, he dialed HR at 4 p.m. in the evening, and this time the HR representative answered his call. The HR informed Mr. Sadaran that the case was still being discussed by the management, and she assured him that now there was no need for him to follow up further. She assured him that if there were any positive updates from the management, she would personally reach out to him and provide the required information. Now, on the long-awaited 10th of April, Mr. Sadaran noticed that only a handful of faces displayed happiness. People eagerly tried to gather the information about each other's increments, but everyone seemed to have an excuse or the reason to avoid sharing details. The overall atmosphere within the company was notably negative, and Mr. Sadaran could hardly witness individuals engrossed in their work on that day. The only things seemingly occupied were the coffee machines. People took very long break on that day. Friends who were aware that Mr. Sadaran had sought an exception began approaching Mr. Sadaran, inquiring about the outcome of his case. Feeling increasingly disheartened by the situation, Mr. Sadaran invited a few of his friends for a smoke break. During their time together, he expressed his decision to no longer wait and instead actively begin searching for a new job. Just like Mr. Sadaran, we often find ourselves mysteriously drawn towards negative thought. When a person falls under the influence of negative thinking, they become susceptible to what can be described as the negativity bacteria. Unfortunately, this infectious mindset tends to linger until we administer multiple doses of positivity medicine to our mind. Given a choice, most of us opt for the easier path. We prefer descending the stairs rather than climbing up. Subconsciously, even our minds lean towards this inclination. Choosing negativity is effortless, whereas selecting positivity requires conscious effort. It is imperative that each day we consciously take our doses of positivity pills to safeguard ourselves from the negativity bacteria.